August 7, 1971, Jets against the Lions. The quarterback, number 12, Joe Willie Namath. The handoff to Lee White. The search for running room not to be found. The fumble. The pickup by middle linebacker Mike Lucci. The attempted tackle by Namath. The Lucci score incidental. What of Namath? Perhaps another full season on the sidelines. Look at it again. The attempted tackle. The failure to achieve. And then watch Paul Newmark, the outside linebacker, on the Namath knee. And all over again, the shock of pain.
Seconds to air. Stand by, all cameras.
Ready with slow motion and isolated cameras.
Stand by, videotape, and roll tape.
And tape is rolling in less than 5, in 3, 2, 1.
Take tape.
Live from Municipal Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, it's the New York Jets versus the Kansas City Chiefs. NFL Monday Night Football is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer, who invites you to come in and test drive the 1971 Fords, the cars with better ideas. And by Firestone. The name that's known is Firestone, where the rubber meets the road. There is Joe Willie Namath, number 12. Sidelined possibly for the entire season, certainly for much of the season, but with his teammates tonight to spur them on for this game against the Kansas City Chiefs, old and bitter rivals. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another season of NFL Monday Night Football. I'm Howard Cosell. My colleagues, Don Meredith and Frank Gifford, will be filling you in on some of the finer points and people to look for in tonight's game in just a moment. But perhaps, too, you should take note of these things on both teams. First, the emergence of number 75 on the Jets, Winston Hill, as a right tackle. He's been moved over from the left side. And second, Roger Finney. Number 61 becomes a defensive tackle on the left side tonight. And on the Kansas City side, view, if you will, Marvin Upshaw, number 81, as a replacement for the now retired great defensive end Jerry Mays. And view, too, if you will, the angular one at 6'8" to 6'10". Nobody's measured him really yet. Morris Stride, critical tight end position in Hank Stram's scheme of things. He succeeds the retired Fred Arbanis. Now to find out more about what to look for on the respective offenses, it's with great delight that I turn the microphone over to my colleague of a year ago, the lowercase John Wayne of American sport, Don Meredith.
I've fought a lot of battles in my time, Howard, and I've won them all. And tonight's no exception. Tonight is a good football game. The New York Jets are not the New York Jets that Coach Wiebank would like to have fielded tonight. Howard has pointed out basically the main reason. Al Woodall, in his third year from Duke, is the quarterback who's to take Joe Namath's place. He's certainly not a Joe Namath, but who is? Number 13 on your screen is Don Maynard, who is the all-time pass receiver in yardage in professional football from Texas Western University. These two guys are the spearhead of their offense. They have a great defensive team, which Frank will touch on a little bit more a little later. On the Kansas City side, we have a good friend of mine, Lenny Dawson, number 16. They call him the governor. He's the guy that's in charge. And his right-hand man, number 89, Otis Taylor, who's probably, if he is not the best, I don't know anybody that is better as an outside receiver. He is big, strong, and fast, and can catch over the middle. He's also a great runner when he gets the ball. I'm looking forward to an exciting season. This tonight will be no exception from, I hope, what the games we'll have for you all year long. And now Frank Gifford, my idol for years, will tell you about the defense.
In just a moment, he will. I've got to tell you, when Don said Wiebank, he was just repeating an old Weeb Eubank joke, because everywhere Weeb goes on the banquet circuit, they inevitably call him Eub Wiebank. And now, with great, great pride, Our newest colleague for this season, the former Giant football great, of course, glorious and fearless Frank Gifford.
Thank you, Howard. You two, please try and get along a little bit and help me tonight. What if Don knew he was telling a joke? Don spoke of the offense all right, but there's a lot of great defensive football players on both of these teams here this evening. The New York Jets led the American Football Conference last year in defense, and deservedly so. They needed it because last year Joe was also out. They have some fine cornerbacks, and let's take a look at their number 1 draft pick of 2 years ago, number 21, Steve Tannen, who is really starting to come into his own. Number 80 is Big John Elliott. He wasn't big 5 years ago when he came to the Jets. He weighed 220 pounds. He goes about 245 now, and as Howard recalls, I mentioned to him about 4 or 5 years ago, I said, this looks like a great football player. He goes 110% at all times. The Kansas City Chiefs, well, they were number 2 in the American Football Conference in overall defense. They have some great defensive players. They have fine cornerbacks, and Jimmy Marcellus, number 40 at their left cornerback, is indeed a great one. He is an expert at the bump and run. The big man on his right is the middle linebacker. That's Willie Lanier, 6'1", 245 pounds of pure agility and football player. He covers the 4 and the 5 hole as good as any middle linebacker in the league. He also gets back well on the pass. 2 great defensive football teams, and Howard, there's not too good a blood between these 2 teams either.
Hasn't been for a long time, Giff, and especially after that title game, or at least a chance to face an opposing division winner and go to the Super Bowl 2 years ago when the Chiefs beat the Jets 13-6. Of course, the Jets are without George Sauer Jr., retired, Steve Thompson abruptly retired, and above all, they are without, by consensus, vote of all of the coaches in the NFL, the most wanted quarterback in the league, Joe Willie Namath, with whom I spoke earlier. Time for a current hospital report, Joe.
Well, Howard, so far everything's going fine. My knee hasn't bothered me in a couple of weeks. I've had some pain in my foot. I had the stitches removed a few days ago from my knee, and the doctors are optimistic about it, and so am I.
So that you're beginning to really believe that you will be able to come back, as Dr. Nicholas projected, by mid-November.
Well, right, and those people that know Dr. Nicholas know what kind of a man he is as far as injuries are concerned. He's a very pessimistic kind of fella. And if he feels that I can be back by the middle of November, I think I can get back a little sooner.
But still, Joe, at the very least until mid-November, this club will be playing without you at quarterback, without the great wide receiver George Sauer Jr., and without a quality defensive lineman, Steve Thompson, who abruptly retired. How good in the face of those losses can the Jets be?
Well, I don't know, Howard. I don't think anybody can really tell how well we'll do until actually we get underway. But there's no doubt about it. Losing Sauer and more recently Steve Thompson as a tremendous blow to our team as far as personnel is concerned. But the coaches are optimistic, which they have to be. The team's optimistic, which that's the only attitude to have, and we just have to overlook what problems we've had and try and correct them. Not overlook them, but correct them and go from there.
Quite candidly, is the Super Bowl dream gone?
Oh, no. The only time that Super Bowl dream is gone is when you're definitely eliminated, and we're sure not eliminated yet. We got 14 weeks of the regular season, and anything can happen. I remember last year when the Baltimore Colts played these Kansas City Chiefs and got just about humiliated.
44-24. It was a Monday night game on ABC.
That's right, a Monday night game on ABC, and you saw what the Baltimore Colts did later. So football being a kind of game it is, anything can happen.
Final question, relative to tonight's game against Kansas City. You've often said there's no team tougher to prepare for than Kansas City. Why?
Well, if you look at Kansas City personnel-wise, defensively, they're outstanding. Last year, I think they played six members on the All-Pro team defensively, which, of course, the New York Jets can't quite accept because we led the league in defense. We kind of feel we got the best defense going. But they are hard to prepare against because they have so many outstanding individuals, and they're just a good, hard-hitting, good football team.
It's good to see you, my friend, and you're looking much better than you did in the hospital. I hope you get back in November, and in truth, I think every football fan feels this way. Your loss is not to the Jets, but to professional football. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Howard. I hope I'm back soon.
We'll be back with the opening kickoff in just one moment.